in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us, man. It's going to be fun. It's a Monday. And if you want to know why, well, tune in to Radio Cayman. Go online and look at our social media pages. You're going to see us streaming live. Susan is making it happen. We're going to be talking about the greatest game of strategy. No, it's not marbles. It's chess. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard. And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And it's always fun, you know. I say this over and often. I'm honored, privileged to be sitting in this position, not just to learn, but to facilitate discussions and encourage people that, despite a small space as Cayman in terms of its, geographical landscape, even we may cuss and complain about the traffic and the people, it is still a small space with some great, untapped potential. So my good friend Sean Tracy, now in the capacity as president of the Canada's Chess Federation, the IDU Federation itself creates this thing that it's greater than a small island. Good to see you again, Sean.
Great to see you, Sterling, and great to be here. Thanks for inviting us on. We now have for about 5 years we've had the Cayman Islands Chess Federation, so we've come a long way since I was first on your show 10 years ago. And fairly new arrival to the island. We've gone from teaching a handful of children in the public library to having a national federation, national tournaments, international representation, very large schools program, etc. We'll get into some of that, but we've had a busy decade.
No, and it's gone quickly, but it just recognizing that you have to have a vision, you have to have a passion and a desire to get somewhere. Forgive me, I've been talking a bit, but I'll even talk more because this is what I get paid to do, right? See, my mother encouraged talkativeness. But chess, in a sense, and I say to people that netball, of all the sports, is almost like a game of chess when you think of the moves and how, unlike, say, football, where you can move as much as you want, or basketball, you can unless you stop and then go and then there's a dribble. But I liken that to chess. You see it across from your opponent. There's a strategy. You're thinking. It's mental. There's psychological. I want to invite our listeners to participate and to appreciate how key it is to life. So through you, Sean, I'm excited.
That's true. It's also a game of perfect knowledge in the sense that what you see is exactly the same as what your opponent sees. All the pieces are on the board. There's nothing hidden.
Openness, accountability, transparency.
But what you make of it in your own mind and what they make of it in their mind is the difference.
In this, from my, I don't play. I want to play. I've always, and maybe I could share a little bit to encourage others. My father taught me how to play checkers, and there's similar things. Much checkers are probably much easier, but chess does that thing. But there is this perception that we create in our minds that it's hard. Just even recognizing and remembering the pieces and who can move where. But it teaches you a lot.
It does, and chess is a game that can be played on all levels. So you could literally come along to the Georgetown Library and learn the basics, how the pieces move, what the idea of the game is, in half an hour,
Right.
You could easily do that. Equally, you could spend a lifetime trying to master the game. But you can enjoy the game and also benefit from it, learn from it, and have experiences, life experiences through it at each of those various levels.
All right.
So,
But through you, I am excited to speak to each of our guests,
Yeah.
and one in particular. And you will guess which one that is, right? Enfield, not you. No, but through you, our good friend Sean. Who do you go first? You want to talk to your...
yeah, sure. Well, first of all, I'll introduce National Master Coach Ryan Blackwood. Ryan is originally from Jamaica, and he spent last 15 years or so teaching chess in schools and communities through Jamaica, developing youth talent in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a mixture of things. First of all, and primarily, I think it's fair to say, educational development, using chess as a tool to help children develop. But also, some of your students became really strong players and represented Jamaica at the International Olympiad. So it straddles both. So we were blessed for Ryan to come to our shores about 2 years ago and become involved in the Cayman Islands Chess Federation in a major way. He is the youth chess director of the federation, and he also leads and delivers the schools, the chess in education program that runs throughout the government, many of the government schools, and also teaches in some private schools. So with that introduction, Coach Blackwood.
Oh, thank you, Sean. I think with that introduction, it's but Sean did touch on a few topics in terms of my major focus has always been on youth development in chess. And through the Federation, we have managed to actually start the school program back up, and it has been going really strong. Now, there are two focus to school chess, which is chess in school and chess in education. And within the government schools, we have managed to get chess on the curriculum. So chess is actually taught as a subject. And in some of the private schools, as a matter of fact, 2 private schools have actually taken on chess as a curriculum as well. Mm-hmm. But mostly within the private schools, you're looking at chess as an after-school program. And a lot of kids are now playing chess. Very recently, we have had tournaments with a lot of youngsters playing the sport and so forth.
Mm. You reference, chess in education, chess in school. And some people hear that may think, well, aren't they the same thing? Mm. I know you alluded to the difference, but expound a little further. What's the difference?
What's the major difference, like I said, chess in education is when chess is taught as a subject, similar to maths or English or physics or we're just talking about PE in school. Chess is a sport and could easily be considered as a physical, well, not a physical education, but
it is taxing.
It is. As a matter of fact, we were talking about how difficult it was, and it said that if you're playing chess, you can burn as much calories as someone who is. There are some studies that show that, actually.
It just shows you the power of the brain.
Yeah. And then you have chess in school, which is now chess as an extracurricular activity. So persons who are more interested in playing tournaments and representing their school and so forth, you have a chess in school program. Right. So whether it's played at lunchtime or it's played after school, that's what we consider as a chess in school program.
And at some point, we'll get our parents in particular to appreciate how important it is in terms of the strategy, the diplomacy, the negotiation, that thing that happens in life, whether you are 2 diplomats representing your respective nations at a trade agreement, whether you're sitting across the table in the boardroom, figuring out how this merger is going to transpire, this business deal, or maybe you're just a parent trying to figure out what your child is up to.
Yeah.
They're good strategies, right?
It is. It's critical thinking. I mean, it's one of the areas that we definitely want to develop among students, though.
Well, Sean, who do we go to next?
Yeah, sure. Next, I think Enfield Bush. Enfield is the strongest. Enfield Bush from West Bay.
There's 2 of us there.
Just make sure it's not loud.
Is the strongest Caymanian chess player, and he is. He's really been also a product of our development program in a more informal way. He's been a member of the club and then later the federation since about 2016 when he was a teenager, and he's developed not only as a player but as a coach. So he himself teaches in some of the schools like First Baptist Christian School, Cayman Prep School. He runs the after-school programs in those schools. He's also represented the Cayman Islands in the FIDE Online Olympiad. FIDE is the International Chess Federation. They run an Olympiad, which is like the Chess Olympics, as the name suggests, every 2 years ordinarily. But during the COVID pandemic time, when no one could travel, it was held online. and Enfield represented the country with great distinction at that Olympiad. So with that introduction, Enfield.
All right, perfect. Yeah, West Bay. Yes, I'm a chess coach and chess player, and I'm happy to get this opportunity to, develop and learn and meet great people. Because what I was really surprised about was the opportunities that chess has. Not only for younger players, but even older folks, and doors open for me as a coach, as a teacher and a player. So there's many opportunities for not only anyone in schools, but young Caymanians at that too. So I do heavily encourage it, because it is like what Sean and Ryan mentioned. It is a sport at the end of the day. So we're gonna represent our country. Go Cayman 3, 4, 5, everything. We're gonna represent our country and show what we're made of. And like we have Carifta for track and field and everything, but we want to do that in chess too, and have a Cayman team to represent Cayman and show, say, hey, Cayman is great at a sport, and not only any sport, like the strongest mental sport you got right now. And I'm a product of that right now, so I'm really, really happy for the opportunities the Chess Federation has given. Yeah.
I'm glad you shared that, because I think too often, too many times, too many people look at things, they see, scripture talk about can anything good come from the, and we look at it and not appreciate that right within our own space, we got so much. And I think, Sean, we've done the, I guess the testament to saving the best for last in terms of our introduction, or youth, and through Zara. Well, Sean?
Absolutely. Yeah. So introducing our final guest, Zara Majid. Zara is one of our very promising junior players. She is the co-junior national champion. She's also the co-junior female national champion. And in fairness to the others, I should mention who the co-champions are, just briefly before we move on. So the co-female junior champion is Anvita Niranjan Patel. And the co-absolute junior champions are Luke Sinton and Des Graham. But with that mentioned, Zara is one of our strongest female players already, despite having taken up the sport very recently, only a year ago, through a FIDE program, which was done online. And she then joined the Cayman Federation and was trained with Coach Ryan and others, Coach Bush, and most recently represented the Cayman Islands internationally at the CARICOM Team Championships in Guyana. So with that introduction, Zara, how have you found it?
It's a really nice experience, honestly. When I first started chess, I didn't like it at all. It was around when I was 7 years old. I was the queen of checkers. Like, I was in love with checkers. You couldn't get me to touch a chessboard. And then I guess it was when I came to Cayman. My first coach was actually Mr. Enfield here at First Baptist Christian School. And then from there, I also, my mom was the one who got me involved with the Queen's Gambit Chess Challenge, which was held by FIDE. And from then on, I just fell in love with the game, and it was absolutely wonderful. And my coaches have been there guiding me for this entire year so far, and I'm really appreciative of the opportunities it has given me.
Well, I know we're going to take the break. I'll try to be respectful to that, but if Mrs. Susan doesn't pay attention, the next break will be 1 o'clock. Because this is not just about the game of chess. Chess is life, and life is about strategy, but it's about companionship, fellowship. There's travel opportunity, there's encouragement. There's even hope for the older people like ourselves, Sean. Stay tuned after the break. A couple of things to ask, but I want to share with the listeners. Stay tuned.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back. And as we continue talking about the Cayman Islands Chess Federation, this President Sean Tracy leads us. And Sean, with all due respect to you, our national master, and maybe Zara, as one of our students, through you we can have some conversation, but tell a list in public, what's key about the Federation, where we're up to, how we've gotten where we are, and what lies ahead.
Yeah, sure. Well, as I mentioned earlier, over the last decade, we've grown from almost nothing into having that national federation, having national teams, competing internationally, as well as very much embedding chess into the education system, like Ryan mentioned. In terms of the international competition part, we first competed internationally as a country in the FIDE Online Olympiad, which I mentioned. Enfield was part of the team. Subsequently, we sent an absolute team, which means it could be men or women, to the full FIDE Olympiad in India in 2022 in Chennai. So the Cayman Islands national team represented the country there. We came about 20 places higher than predicted. So for a very small nation, we did well. And it was a great experience, wonderful cultural experience, like a cultural exchange, because you have 179 nations were represented at that Olympiad, all coming together in the same place. Yeah, literally thousands of players, coaches, supporters, accompanying persons, and so on. A real carnival. And then more recently, we had the CARICOM Championship, which perhaps we'll touch on again in a moment with Zara, where for the first time ever, there was, to coincide with the 50th anniversary of CARICOM, there was a team chess championship held in Guyana. What do we have on the horizon? We have the Olympiad coming up again this September in Budapest, Hungary. And we will be sending not only an absolute team, but also for the first time a female national team will compete there. So the federation is committed, like FIDE, to broadening the appeal of chess. It's not just middle-aged white man with glasses. It's everyone. It's everyone. And so we have diversity at our core in what we do.
So not just middle-aged white man with glasses and a beard, but young, some strappy brown man with hair.
Absolutely. And dreadlocks.
You got to plot that man. But if I might, Zara, maybe through you, because I think too often sometimes we don't see what fun it can be in playing, but we also don't see what great reward. In sport, we look at sport and we think of it as a physical sport, whether it's a team like football or it's the individual like tennis, doubles aside. But I want to pick up on one initial comment. You talked about starting with checkers, and there are many who say, well, are they same, are they similar? As a student, still relatively learning but developing your craft, what are the similarities, what are the difference, and is one more preferable than the other?
I feel between chess and checkers, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Honestly, for checkers, it's a bit of luck. I kind of have to say, and unless you are really into the game and you know the strategy behind winning, it's quite hard at first. But I think for chess, it's a really nice game because you get to. It's an easier one to learn. I'd say a lot of people don't think that because of how many pieces there are, things that you have to realize, but it's the knowledge behind of what the game actually leads you on to learn more in life. So it's like learning to accept failures when the games are going on, learning to persevere during a position when you're like down in the dumps and you have to pick yourself back up. And I think with chess, it's more of like there's a wider like range of different things that you can get from chess rather than a simple game like checkers.
A rather simple game like Mr. Enfield.
Yes.
Pick up on what Zara shared if you want to. If not, I'll ask you something specifically.
I could elaborate more. I played some checkers myself, and I agree with Zara 100%. It's quite simple. A lot of the aspects in chess and checkers we share, and with chess more so it helps to broaden your personality, your mind. So it actually brings out your personality on the chessboard, or even your alter ego. You might be a quiet middle-aged man with glasses, but you play like a very young, youthful person. Yeah.
To make a Jordan chess.
But yeah, it is a form of expression too, and it is an art. It's an art form as well too. So, no matter how you wanna you look at chess, whether it's a board game or it's a sport or art form, at the end of the day, it helps you, develop these critical thinking skills more so than any other sport. And
But before I go to Coach Ryan, I wrote down critical thinking. I wrote it down 3 times so far. You just said it. Yeah. That is what it does. Now, if I might, something that you shared earlier, and I think this might be a perception that many of us have as parents of our children in a small community, as us in a nation of just relatively small size. Probably one of the many offensive things that have been said in this community, about this community, was editorial in the Compost way back when they said, it's too small to even have a World Cup team with a gold medal. And that to me is so egregious, yet it left so many unwilling to hold the editorial accountable. But it motivated someone to say, wait a minute, it's not. So with that, Enfield, to you, chess in the Caribbean and chess in a small island, the other Caribbean islands have millions of people. We got 5 people, 1, 2, me and you. Yeah, no, 8 people. Yeah, very small, relatively speaking. What made you, if there was such a thing, that drew you to chess?
Actually, it was the love of board games. It was, I played dominoes, I played checkers, and yeah, of course everyone played that one. You got bored of it, I found, a lot of these board games are a little too easy or relied on luck.
Yeah.
So I actually got drawn to chess after a bit and experimenting, and I fell in love with it and became obsessed. And then I did a little bit of digging online, and I found out, hey, there's a chess club in Cayman, and I contacted Sean and went to meet with him at the chess club, and it's been like that ever since.
Yeah, man. Perfect segue to Coach Ryan. And again, my excitement isn't just because I'm paid to be excited to come. This is something that is educating and empowering, liberalizing. It brings you to a space of camaraderie. There is competition. I mean, you want to win. But chess or sport, like food, like music, in my mind, can bring you together. Probably, other than the World Cup. How many other things brings the world together? All right? War?
Well, I'll tell you, when you talk about bringing together and a mixture and diversity, if you're supposed to come to our master class on a Saturday morning and you see a group of, you're seeing kids from as young as 5 years old straight up to adults who are far older than their middle age wearing glasses. But you're seeing persons as old as 60, and they're in the class and they're all learning together. And you're wondering how could a 5-year-old be learning in the same class as somebody who is 30,
not 5.
40. Exactly, not 5. And that is it. And I have the response of being so incredible, especially from the public schools. I mean, I have to shout out to Red Bay. They came on board, and they didn't just want one class, because initially we were supposed to introduce chess at the year 4 level in the primary schools. And Red Bay, they just ran with it. Year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, the entire school. As a matter of fact, the principal wanted, we are now at year 2. The principal wanted the entire school with chess on the curriculum. And we have had kids now from Red Bay who started learning chess in September, who are now at a level where they are competing with our senior players and getting good results. So
one would recognize that either as a parent, an educator, or one of the sort of the policy developer, officers, whatever that may be termed, in education there's significant demands on the school day, the time, the parent, the student, and the teacher, but even the demands of the curriculum. So quickly, how do we integrate another sort of pull on that time? How do we make that part of it?
Well, chess introduced in the curriculum is a part of the STEM program. So it doesn't take away, but rather add value to the everyday subject that comes under science, technology, math. So the whole idea of STEM being a part of the curriculum is there to enhance it and makes it easier for kids to actually problem solve, because that's really what it boils down to.
The critical thinking is Coach Ryan shared. But Coach Ryan, with that in mind, though, sometimes we see, this subject, let's use chess, the subject has to start in somewhere, and that may displace another subject. Is chess the subject in the school just one more added thing? Or how is it introduced, how is it included and integrated into the rest of the school day?
Well, like I said, the kids they're being taught chess as a regular subject. Right. So for every class from year 2 to up to year 6, I'm not giving Red Bay for an example. Right. They have chess as a subject. So every week they look forward to this class.
Okay. And this is
okay.
Sorry.
Sorry. The program is also introduced as a hybrid program. So they do have the physical class where they most time get to go on the board and they're learning, but they also have an online portal where they're all connected and they get to participate in tournaments and they get to do all of that. So, and it's a learning program which they take that account from the primary level straight up to high school.
Yeah. And what's interesting, and preparing for today, I asked one of my educator friends, and she shared, you can teach math in an English class, you can teach English in science class, and you can integrate the subjects. They have a term for it. I should have wrote it down because I forget. But it's not that it's standalone. It is, but it's integrated. So as we go into the break, Sean, the idea that sometimes as parents we may look at this and go, well, what benefit is there to the child? I mean, it's play. Play is fun, play is knowledgeable, but to you?
Well, it's not only the critical thinking Ryan's discussed already, but it's also respectful competition,
Mhm.
and as Zara mentioned earlier, dealing with the ups and downs that go with it, dealing with defeat, dealing with success, not bragging about it, but dealing with it in the right way. So what you actually find now through the community programs we have is a genuine community where people get along, they work together, they compete with each other, but they're growing together as a community. So that's what we can offer.
That sense of unity. So we have to break, but when we come back, can we talk about that? And maybe as you share some of the future plans, tell us about what's happening now. Can the middle age, well, they may be bald, but can they come and play?
Yep.
Is it, as Coach Ryan shared?
Yeah, it's open to all.
Yeah.
Open to all.
All right. When, where, and how? And then, Zara, if we can ask you, some of your plans. How do you, if it's okay, how you find chess for you, for all the demands on your time with all the things that you have going on? How is that? And maybe we talk about it. And then, Mr. Enfield, maybe some other things to encourage others who will look at you and say, hey, I know his dad, I know him. Because we have a perception, if we don't look like Michael Jordan or Muhammad Ali, we can't play basketball in our box. But it could be like Sean and still be a good chess master.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for Talk Today.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. And I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Let's talk health, Cayman. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is launching a public consultation on May 1st to help develop a new national health strategy for the Cayman Islands. And we need your help. We want to hear your thoughts and experiences with healthcare across all 3 of our islands. Your voice matters. Log on to gov.ky/health-wellness or email mohfeedback@gov.ky to learn more or to get involved.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back into Sean Tracy, to the National Master Ryan Blackwood together with Enfield Bush, and of course, these are gentlemen who act as knights for the wonderful Ms. Zara Majid. Thanks very much for coming in. I'm hoping that as people hear this conversation, that they see a couple of things. There can be competition, camaraderie, but it can also be fun and fellowship. You can have a chance to enjoy as a as a hobby, as just a way to socialize, but you can travel. So I wanted to ask Ms. Zahra, but first, Mr. Sean, with that, maybe give us a perspective of the Cayman chess community, for instance.
Yeah, growing very much, very mixed as well. We have now masses of junior participants, hundreds. We also have more established players, players of all ages. Our oldest player, I think, active player is 73. Our youngest is probably 4 or 5. And we have all in between. We have some players who take the game seriously, study, they train. We have a national squads that train twice a week at least, and for competition. And then we have other kids who like the community side, they like the fun side and all these things. A real mixture of expats, of Caymanians, and so on. So a real melting pot of people.
And I want to ask Zahra, but just to maybe understand it better. Those early days, the Georgetown Public Library on a Saturday, I think even did some of the West Bay and other libraries to get people introduced to it. When do you meet now? And then we talk about the national training program, but for the community to get involved, drop-in sessions, if so, when, where?
Drop-in session, again, at the Georgetown Library. We call it the Masterclass program. It's delivered by master. Doesn't mean you've got to be a master to go to it. You can be a complete beginner, novice player, or anyone above that. But basically, it's a program where you can pick up the game from scratch and then develop your skills. And so that's at the Georgetown Library every Saturday from 10 a.m. run through the morning into the early afternoon. So, and it's free of charge. So come along. Coach Blackwood, Coach Bush, and others will teach. And myself.
So it starts at 10, and I think I'm glad you referenced, because I've seen the promo national, and a few people said, "Oh, it's a master class." No, it's not at that level. It's beginners, so maybe timing. But if you can't get there until 11,
that's fine.
Just drop in, pick it up when you get there. Be there at 10 if you can.
Typically, the first half an hour is pretty much free play. The players just play against each other and do as they wish. Then there's a more formal instructional part between, say, 11 and 12:30 or so, 1 o'clock. And then more free play as well. Sometimes the coach will then do a simultaneous match against the students, so they'll each sit at a table, and the coach will go around playing against each of them from turn to turn.
Just shot the skills.
Brian and I have both done that, and it's good fun, and it gives the kids a challenge to play against someone who ordinarily is above their level, but they have a chance still to get
that's how you get better.
A win or a draw. Yeah.
All right. Can I speak to Zahra? Yeah. That's okay. Before I ask you, from what I was saying earlier, anything you wish to add, share, or say, Ms. Zahra?
I don't think so. You guys are really good at covering everything.
How was the Caum Team Championship for you, Zahra?
Oh, it was a wonderful experience, honestly. My goal this year is to hopefully go to Budapest for the Chess Olympiad representing Cayman on their female team. So I think for me, this experience for the CARICOM Games actually helped me gave me the knowledge of what the real world is like. When you're in Cayman, it's like you're playing against kind of your friends, people that you know. It's a lot easier on you, but when you go into like the real world, it's a lot more pressure. So I got that experience, and I'm so grateful for it.
The big fish, small pond sort of syndrome, right? And I want to ask about training, because I think it's easier for some parents, and I'm speaking to parents particularly, when their child is in something that you go to training, like a physical sport, football for instance, or even band or music. But for chess, some must think, well, especially in Cayman, So your training, your participation in the other things as part of your day, you've got school, you're phenomenal academic.
Thank you.
So how does that sort of integrate? How does it play out in your time management? What does chess do for you in terms of relieving stress, adding stress, however?
For me, I think chess has really helped me with my time management skills. I mean, my coach can add to that as well. He was the one to teach me, especially in long time controls, you need to learn how to manage your time properly. So I think that's helped me so much in my everyday life, just like actually doing really good with organization and planning everything out. And I honestly have a lot of things going on. I'm doing right now, I'm also participating in the Sustainable Development Goals Challenge, which is happening on Thursday. So I need to get ready for that as well. And there's a lot of things going on, but my chess has really helped me to plan out my life. And it's a way for me to relieve my stress as well. Whenever if I'm doing work, I'm studying, and then I just want to take a mental break, I go and I play chess. I do chess puzzles. Like, people might think that, oh, that's so weird. Why would you go and do a mentally challenging activity? But for me, it's relieving. So
Thanks for sharing that. And as I come to Coach Ryan, the idea that many of us have to read for work, and our break from reading is more reading. And people go, huh? And it works. You know, you're reading your technical text, 8 to 10, and then you go and you read some fun novel, some biography. But Coach Ryan, Zara shared, and then I'll come back to Enfield in a second, time management. There's interpersonal skills. There are all these things that we want young people to have when they become entrepreneurs or employees. We want them to have in a society that is civil and stable and harmonious. And yet, many times, unless you've been introduced to a game like chess, you don't realize how many of those things you take on deliberately from time management onwards.
Yeah, time management is just one of those basic things. Sometimes you're playing a game, like Zara had to learn to play a classical game, which were games going up as long as 4 or 5 hours. And there's times when she would have played in a blitz game or where the time control is just 3 minutes on the clock with a 2-second increment. Right, and you have to manage that time. You have to take into consideration, well, I'm going to play an entire game. It might be 60 moves, and I have 6 hours to do it. Or I'm going to play an entire game and I only have 60 moves, and I have 6 minutes to do it. Right, and you really have to manage that time. And like you say, in life, we have to manage our time with everything that we do.
Is that notion that, and thanks, Coach Enfield, from that, Mr. Enfield Bush, we live in a very special place. Those of us like you who grew up, our parents and grandparents valued time, whether they were going fishing or catching, a plane, or the ship was pulling to port. But there's this casualness to life, and there's this expectation. Well, you're in an island. I mean, chess. Eat mangoes and go to play marbles and go to the beach. But chess. So speak to our people in particular that this is something that could take you many places, but it'll do great things for you, as Zara has, easily shared with us.
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking for all the young Caymanians out there, and chess. From the outside perspective, people think chess is boring. It's slow, it's boring, and that's especially in Cayman, it's like, that's such a boring game, but it's actually really fun, and you get all these skills that you could apply in your everyday life. It is a learning tool, and that's why it is a part of the STEM curriculum, and we use it as a learning tool. So not only we're teaching time management, but we're actually teaching perspectives on all right, what are they gonna do, and both calculation, thinking, planning ahead, as Zara mentioned, and she's a product of it. I'm a product of it. And, as much as the benefits aside, and then I'll go back to the opportunities for the young Caymanians. And, it's like we have the opportunity to travel, to play in a team, to be a sport, or whether you want to be a coach, whether you want to be a teacher, or even just, play it for fun as a hobby, and, just have a good time. And it could be really, really fun, especially when you're playing with your friends.
I'm looking forward to welcome you guys back again, and not just, when you travel and put Cayman again on the world stage in Budapest, but the notion of what we can do for the community. So in closing, Mr. President, in Terran, our listeners, when, where, and how, but remind us, it doesn't matter if you're 5 or you're 105, it's never too old to learn.
No, absolutely. Okay. And thanks very much for having us on, Mr. Stone. We really appreciate it. My closing remarks, perhaps a couple of things we haven't yet touched upon, would be we have a major international tournament coming up, the Cayman Chess Classic, on Emancipation Day weekend from the 4th to the 6th of May. So it's in 4 sections, and it's hosted at the John Gray High School with their lovely new facility. We have beginner section, so any young person, any beginner, any novice player can come along, participate. We have some mid-level sections, and then we also have the open section, which is will include grandmasters, international masters, and some of the island's strongest players competing as well. So for the first time ever, we're putting on this kind of tournament, which is also, and this links to my final point, a fundraising tournament. The Federation has all of the activities of the Federation, including the schools program in the government schools, are funded through sponsorship, primarily through private sector sponsorship at the moment. We will be reaching out again to government. We will be seeking grants to support and to grow this work. But we also want to give thanks to our private sector sponsors. There's too many to name them individually, but we could certainly say those who've been with us right from the start include not only my law firm Campbell's, but include BDO, DART, OGA. We've also had major sponsorship from Rotary Central, from the All Foundation, from More and More Investments, Colin Shaw, etc. Many law firms, many accountancy firms, many businesses. But we need more, and we're launching our next fundraising drive to keep this work going and to grow it.
Well, thank you all, and to be able to have, a National Youth Director for the private sector to come on board. I say this mindful, but recognizing that many do things for how it looks for them, the individual as well as the corporate entity. But in this instance, maybe publicly we can take a page to say, by investing, as Coach Ryan shared, in our youth in something like STEM, and STEM through chess, or chess through STEM, right? You can see what that does for the mindset of that future employee or employer. So thanks very much. Thank you for allowing Zara to come along, and with the greatest respect to you fine gentlemen, we hail Zara.
Star of the show.
Star of the show. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, all of you, and thanks again. Looking forward, Sean, to coming back.
Great. Thanks, Mr. Sterling.
All right. To our listeners, yeah, you will. Saturday, God's willing, I'll be... so when we come back from the break, our friends from FRC, Miss Susan, we'll join them by phone, and then 1:30, I think it's open line. And between now and then, I need to get some chocolate. It's only Monday, but I need some. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The National Trust for the Cayman Islands is hosting a special screening of Paradise Found, a documentary film on May 11th at Camana Bay Cinema. Paradise Found is based on the autobiography of Brigitte Casa. Tickets include drinks and canapes at a reception at Abacus prior to the documentary screening. Email info@nationaltrust.org.ky for tickets and event information. In international news, the European Commission could suspend TikTok Lite Rewards program, which pays users to spend time on the app, as soon as this Thursday. Commissioner Thierry Breton said the feature is toxic and addictive, particularly when used by children. TikTok has until Wednesday to defend the rewards program, or it could be suspended as early as Thursday, April 25th. Grindr, the world's biggest dating app for the LGBT community, is being sued for allegedly sharing personal information such as people's HIV status with third parties. According to the claim lodged at the High Court in London, covert tracking technology was deployed and highly sensitive information was illegally shared with advertisers. Law firm Austin Hayes says there are more than 650 claimants and thousands of UK users which were affected. Grindr says it will respond vigorously to the claim. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
Maxine Goulburn, Certificate of Honor, 1924-2001. Maxine Goulburn was the fourth child of Edred and Fenbean Banks. She was baptized in 1935 and at the age of 11 became a member of the Georgetown Seventh-day Adventist Church. After completing her primary education at Georgetown Primary School, she matriculated at Kingsway Academy High School in Jamaica and completed her studies at Northeastern Academy in New York. In 1963, she graduated from New York International College of Business with an associate degree in business administration. The following year, she was hired as secretary/treasurer of the West Indies Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, continuing in that position until 1977. In 1977, she was appointed executive secretary, a position she held until her retirement in 1990. Maxine married Lee Goulburn in the early 1970s, and they adopted a daughter, Latanya. The Cayman Islands Conference has honored her memory with the building of the Maxine Goulburn Youth and Community Center in Newlands.
Hi, I'm Kathy Miller. Join me on Radio Cayman's Business Buzz every Tuesday and Thursday from 7:30 to 9 a.m. and the second and fourth Thursday of each month from 8:15 to 9 a.m.
If you're a business owner
or part of one, Business Buzz is your source for the latest initiatives, developments, and varied viewpoints from the local business landscape. Be part of the Business Buzz with me, Kathy Miller, every Tuesday and Thursday morning on Radio Cayman.
The Business Buzz.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us. And I'm going to try hard not to give Miss Susan any more trouble in work today, but that may not be possible. Well, if I do, she got 4 more days, so don't worry, we'll make it happen. Well, as we go to the phones to join Miss Caum from the Family Resource Center, a very special thanks to President Sean Tracy from the Cayman Chess Federation for coming along, and in particular, bringing along Ms. Zara Majid. We'll talk more about that in future discussions, but let's go to the phones. Miss Ambo, welcome. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me just fine?
What's that conversation? Can you hear me now? What about now? I'm hoping you can hear us. We're hearing you perfectly. Are you hearing us as well?
Yes, sir. Wonderful.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm glad that we can leverage your technology in order to allow you to multitask while you talk to us. You can still be accessible to your clientele in a much more immediate way if necessary. So welcome aboard.
I always love coming in to speak, but today I obviously wasn't able to come in person, but I'm very grateful that we're able to, join you nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
And today I just wanted to speak about some of our upcoming programs, because as you know, at the Family Resource Center, we have something for every parent, right? And just servicing the family, because what we look to do is build people building families, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have a ton coming up within the next month or so. I don't know if you want me to just dive right into it.
Dive right in. This is, and I'm so glad that you referenced. Sometimes email or video calls or they're useful, but face to face in person, not only can you pick up on the cues and read the body language, but you get to, as I say, see the white of their eyes and understand. So you dive right in, and we're gonna pay close attention and not just listen, but maybe even be responsive and constructive and actually add some value. We'll try our best.
Most definitely. Yeah, so just like you said, we do use technology to our advantage. So one of the first programs we have coming up is our Understanding ADHD workshop. So again, I'll just kind of circle back and say at FRC, we have a number of programs that cater to parents just to, add tools to their parenting toolbox. So whether it's that you have a child who's been diagnosed with ADHD or you suspected your child might have ADHD, our Understanding ADHD workshop is a virtual lunch and learn. It's going to be starting on Tuesday, April 30th, and it's from 12 to 1. It's only a 4-week workshop where we, aim to support parents to understand ADHD and how to support your children who have a diagnosis or their pending diagnosis. We have our Triple P Positive Parenting Program coming up on the following day, on Wednesday, May 1st. At the Family Resource Center, we have a number of Triple P, which stands for Positive Parenting Programs. We have a number of those that we are accredited in and that we offer year-round. Right now, we have the Triple P Standard Program that we're going to be offering on May 1st, and that caters for parents of 12-year-olds and under. And parents pretty much just learn, ways to manage behaviors, children who demonstrate behavior problems. It assists parents to make specific goals and equips them with strategies to promote their child's development and also manage those misbehaviors. So that's going to be an 8-week workshop that we're going to be hosting it from 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesdays, and that is going to be in person. We try to eliminate any barriers. So if a parent feels like they could benefit from this program, we provide dinner. If childcare is necessary, we also can provide that. So just making sure, if you're a parent and you feel like this is something that you could definitely benefit from, we try as best as possible to help you, come and learn those skills. We also have our Triple P for Baby, which is a brand new program that myself and my colleague, Ms. Anne-Marie Diaz, have been accredited in, and that's for expecting and new parents of a child under 1 year old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just looking at preparing parents for, that positive transition into parenthood. So if you've never been a parent before, you may be wondering, there's so much online and so much to learn. What are some of the things that I need to know for the first year with baby? So it's just, promoting a very sensitive and responsive care while you're preparing for baby, right? So those are all really excellent. Those are the positive parenting programs that we're going to be having coming up. Then we also have another virtual lunch and learn, positive discipline lunch and learn. So that's just the way, it's a workshop that's designed to support parents to understand their parenting styles, how they can manage behaviors, using positive strategies, how they can self-regulate, how they communicate and have empathy for their kids, as well as how can you build your relationship to have a really healthy parent-child bond, right? So that's starting Friday, May 10th. That's going to be, again, an 8-week workshop online from 12 to 1. So, if you're a parent and maybe you're not able to come and see us in person for one of the other Triple P programs, or, if you're not able to come and do individual parent coaching, then you could join us online and just learn some skills, right? So we're trying to make it as easily accessible as we can for parents who could benefit from this information, yeah? And the final one that we have upcoming would be our Managing Screen Time workshop.
Mm-hmm.
That's starting Tuesday, June 4th, and that's going to be over a 4-week period between 12 and 1, again, over Zoom. And that's aimed at, teaching or giving information to parents and caregivers who want to be proactive and set expectations around screen use, and how, maybe you have a concern with your child being on screens too much. What are some recommendations? What are some things or strategies you can put into place to keep that at bay, right? So those are just, some of our exciting workshops and programs coming up. But as I made reference to as well, we have our individual parent coaching. So if you're not able to join us on Zoom during a lunch hour, if you're not able to come after hours, then we're happy to meet with you on a one-to-one basis and equip you with these skills and strategies all the same, right?
You know, Ms. Amber, as I listen to you, just that last point about managing screen time, we may think as parents or as adults that we ourselves, couldn't benefit from some of those strategies that our children would employ, or that we, when we're looking at it, don't see the example that we're setting as we say to the child, oh, you need to limit, your screen time today, but we have it, in some cases, one device in each hand while we're looking at a third one, trying to, because it's for work, it's important, but to the child, it is life as well.
Most definitely. One of the main things we always encourage our parents to do is model the behavior you want to see, right? So if you're telling your child, oh, you should only be on the phone or on the TV or computer 1 hour per day, of course, being connected is deemed a necessity in this day and time now, but you also should be modeling and not abusing or overusing the screens either, right? So yeah, it's a very important point that you bring up too.
Yeah. And perhaps sometimes too, we don't even realize that thing that we're trying to ensure, that negative thing, happening to their child, the pain and whatever in their fingers and the wrists, the neck strain, the eye strain, the bad posture, all those other things. Are we seeing it evident in us? And back to your point, I'm glad you used modeling. Are we not just saying to the child, do as I say, not as I do, but hey, here is me making a conscious effort.
Yeah.
And I share that to ask, as we listen and talk with you, our parents, our teachers, our coaches, how cognizant, how deliberately conscious we are in what we're doing and saying, so that the young people are taking on board, positive things because they see the benefit of it, but also maybe recognize how challenging it is even for the adult to make these concessions, perhaps make these adjustments in our lives, and give them the sense that it's okay. If you can't do it now, there's nothing wrong with you. I want that, but go ahead.
It's also important, it's a really good time for us to be offering this workshop too, June 4th, because school will be breaking shortly after, right? So obviously during the summertime, a lot of kids, they're on screens a lot more time than when they're in school, because there's nothing to do if they're not involved in summer camps. So I think it's a really good, preventative measure, or it's a good time for parents to learn about managing screen time so that they can implement it when kids are out of school. And also, during the summer, we have our annual SNAP camp, and that's something I really wanted to, talk about while I'm on with you today. Our SNAP camp is going to be running from July 2nd to 12th, and it's only $100. The camp is aimed at equipping kids with the tools to make smart choices in the moment. So the camp caters to kids who are experiencing emotional and behavioral difficulties, and it's a really good, opportunity for kids to come and learn the SNAP skill, how to keep their problems small in the moment by making smart choices. So if that's something that a listener, they feel like maybe their child could benefit from, or if they know a child who could benefit from this sort of support and learning these skills, then please get in contact with us. We have our registration open until May 3rd. And we're going to be doing interviews with parents and their kids just to ensure that they're going to benefit from the camp as much as possible. So please, if that's something that interests you, please register as soon as you can, because our spots are limited. And as I said, it is only $100 per camper. It runs from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and we provide snacks and lunch, as well as we take them out for, like little outings where they can practice the SNAP skill too. So it's a really fun time where you're not only enjoying yourself, but you're learning lifelong skills.
And SNAP is an acronym for those who listen. Remind us what it stands for.
Yes, it stands for Stop Now and Plan. It is the only clinical program that we're currently offering at the Family Resource Center. In a clinical setting, it's a 14-week program where we service the whole family. Parents come in and they learn skills to manage difficult behaviors. And then And then we also service the kids in a separate group where they, again, learn how to make smart choices in the moment. It's an excellent program. We have amazing feedback from parents. We often have parents recommending it to their friends. So every time we run the program, we have, somebody that's a mutual friend of a parent who's previously participated in the SNAP program. But if you're not able to commit to a 14-week program like that, or maybe you want your child to learn the skill as a preventative measure, then you can register for our summer camp. Like I said, it's a great time. Kids love the summer camp, and of course, it is very meaningful where we're teaching them skills to keep their problems small.
And although this is, sort of mid-April, you're talking July the 7th through the 12th, right?
The 2nd to the 12th. It's
Second.
actually a 2-week camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's something that we're really proud. For the first time ever last year, we had the camp for 2 weeks, and it was a major success. So we're going to, aim again 2 weeks this year, and hopefully for the foreseeable future. And that's how we'll have our annual summer camp.
Well, so a full school day, 2 weeks for $100. That's a good deal right there. But and the ages again, just remind us that you're catering to
6 to 11.
right?
Yes.
And the reason why I was asking to emphasize that is that sometimes even as an adult, even as that so-called busy professional, we get an email, for instance, and we are apt to respond right then and there, either for two reasons. We want to be timely, we want to be conscientious, but also this person can understand. Let me tell him what I'm thinking, and you send that, and then you recall it because maybe the tone wasn't what you wanted. Maybe you missed something in your haste to get it out. Those are strategies as an adult we learn by experience, and sometimes not in the most positive way initially. So giving this to our children at an earlier age allows them to not just self-regulate, but to appreciate strategies that they can take through, as they go into life.
Yeah, most definitely. So early intervention is definitely key. When you're learning these skills at such a young age, like you said, this will take you through adulthood, and you'll be able to flourish when it comes to being in that job where you have a difficult situation, right? You have the skill set, and you were able to practice them and master them, for adulthood, right? So I think it's really important that, we're exposing the kids to these skills and teaching them how to make smart choices.
And it's interesting. This is one of the reasons, one of the many reasons why I enjoy conversations with you and your colleagues, in that we start to see we are learning new things, but so much of it has already been experienced by others, and their first sort of introduction to it, they wish they could have another chance to get it right.
And it's never too late to it's never too late to sharpen those skills. Yes, you might have been practicing things like time out with your kids, or whatever strategy that you or whatever tool you pull out of your parenting toolbox. But it's never too late to add more tools. It's never too late to look at how you were doing something and sharpen up on that specific skill, right? So that's why we're here. I mean, it's very easy to get in contact with us. We're active on Facebook, on Instagram. We have our email, frc@gov.ky. We also, on our website, as well as our Instagram and Facebook page, we have a link where you can sign up to do a free, 100% free phone consultation where you can discuss your parenting concern with us, or you can seek some parenting advice. And it's just a 30-minute consultation. We can provide you with some advice, and it's as easy as that. From there on, we can, recommend a program to you, or just provide you with the skills, and you can do intake to do individual parent coaching. So there's a lot of options for parents to improve their parenting skills. Whether you want to do a long-term program with us, like our SNAP Clinical, or you just want to pop in and get some parent coaching advice, then that's fine,
Indeed. Well, on the phone from the Family Resource Center is Miss Amber Caum. Miss Amber, with that, let's go back to what you said, half an hour consultation by phone. But for some parents, no matter if this is the first child or others, they want better, to be better parents. They want to know things that they doing are not just right, but at the right time in the right way. For that parent who calls in and says, listen, I just need help. I don't know where to start. I don't know what I need help with. I need help with everything.
You call in the right people because we'll discuss with you and then figure out what is the best starting point, right? We have been trained, we're accredited in a number of programs. So whether it's you're having concerns with a teenager, you want to know how to talk about the birds and the bees, which also is how we're actually going to be going into Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month in May. So that's some work that we are currently actioning some of those things too. But if you're a parent and you just want advice on that, you're calling the right place. We have the information, we have the evidence-based programs to provide you with reliable information as to what you can do. And of course, we recognize it's not a one-size-fits-all. If you've been a parent before and you have another child, and all children are different, it's not a one-size-fits-all, but our job is to get reliable information and get these strategies and skills from programs and then equip you with them to see what works best for your family and see how that, how it goes for you and just helping you through actioning these things, right? Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. So if we provide you with a skill and we say, okay, go ahead and practice it at home. How was it? We'll come back and just work through what went well, what could be done differently, and that's just how we go about our coaching.
Okay. And perhaps as a country, when we recognize investment in people, whether it's training through some formal education setting, tertiary or otherwise, or whether it's on-the-job training, or a country through its scholarships and the like. But here is something that we have deployed through taxpayer funds that is free and accessible to all who live here. In closing, as you repeat and recap perhaps some of the programs that you have on offer coming up more, around the corner, how do we appeal to us in the wider community to see this as a resource and not as a weakness that we approach it, but it's actually beneficial and sensible that we do so?
Well, the way that I look at it is when it comes to managing your parenting skills, I don't feel that there's any shame in going to a money management or a time management course. You are just learning skills as to how to manage things better. And in the same way, when you come to us and we equip you with different skills, again, it's just you learning to better yourself. And I feel like there should be, it's not a weakness to say, oh, I want to be the best parent that I could possibly be. Parenting doesn't come with a handbook as much as we wish it did. It can be very difficult, some of the things you have to face as a parent. And, you should just trust that you have professionals in your corner who are here to support you and provide you with skills so that you can, have a healthy family life.
Right. And that not only impacts the quality of life for you and the child now, but as that child coming to her own, as society is impacted by what a child does, or child is impacted by what happens in society, you create a safer, more civil, a much more stable society. And I think sometimes many of us listening, we see that in a way that somehow, for whatever reason, and I know I take a particular view of it, we see it as this thing bad. To me, it's not naive, it's not airy-fairy, it's not this thing that's idealistic. It's the thing that you should strive for, because you want to be in such a society. You want to know that your children are safe now. You want to know that as they age and they become 95, not only are they agile in mind and body, but they're actually still safe and respected. And we're losing that in this country, and we can point fingers, but I think part of it is that we're not taking and utilizing the resources that you and your team and others are offering to make us better parents, better at what we're doing and in the way we do it. So I really commend you for having that diligence. I'm glad that we are able to have this partnership, and maybe, maybe one person will take it up, maybe 1,000, but maybe everyone.
Yeah, hopefully many more than one. But
yes.
Again, I just want to end on saying, we're here to provide you with the support. We have a number of programs like we discussed earlier. We have them posted on our Instagram page, so please check them out and send us an email or give us a ring for a phone consultation if you don't see anything that might specifically fit your family needs. We do offer so many different programs and services, so please reach out. Again, we are active on Instagram, Facebook, You can call us. You can visit our website. We're easy to get in contact with. So please, even if you want to pop into our office, we're located on Mary Street in Apollo House West on the 2nd floor.
And for those of us who've been there for any length of time, across from the old Thompson Meat Market, if you don't know what that is, ask a friend. Ms. Amber, thank you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, and thank you to you, Ms. Amber, and all the team over there for what you guys are doing. And I commend the government for its continued, investment. I don't see it as an expenditure. Certainly, there are much competing demands on resources, but thank you all for what you do.
Thank you so much. Alrighty, have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Well, the Family Resource Center, as Ms. Amber shared, has excellent facilities, or facilitators as they put many of the programming on. So reach out to them. All right, we're going to pause. We're going to take a break. When we come back, what do you want to do, Miss Susan? It's a Monday. I know what I want, but I know what I have to do as well. Can I? If you say that on air, I will say it. I will repeat it. Say that, Miss Susan. Come on, I'm calling you now. You want to know what she said? All right, join me after the break. Let me see if she offers something in return. I won't say it. If she doesn't, I'm going to say what she said. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Capella Music Festival is back on Saturday, April 27th at the Festival Green at Camana Bay, featuring a jam-packed lineup of local performers and international stars. With reggae royalty, Damian Jr. Gun Marley, soft rock heavyweight, Richard Marx, dance pop star, Becky Hill, Afrobeat star, Iris Star, soca sensation, Jazz the Band, and world champion DJ Buffy. Purchase your tickets now at CapellaMusicFestival.com.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected. Start your day in the know. Don't miss a beat. Radio Cayman's 7 a.m. news keeps you informed every Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m. Brought to you by Cayman National, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. And I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
CUC Advisory. Customers are advised of a scheduled outage on Thursday, April 25th between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. for Crichton Drive and all side roads in Crystal Harbor. For For more information, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. Now, going into the break, I had said there's going to be open line for the remainder of the hour, and I said to Miss Susan, what do you want to do? And she said, Miss Susan, what did you say? She said, let's go fishing. Fishing, she said, fishing. She said fishing. She has good elocution. She is eloquent, and certainly she knows great enunciation. But if you're going to speak in the colloquial jargon, hey, let's go fishing. Well, it's Monday, and I know. Honestly, they say he who feels it, knows it. I know that today is challenging for many of us for different reasons, and some of us have to dig a little bit deeper, not just because it's Monday, but because all has been transpiring, and some of the things, that sense of fear and trepidation, that angst that we see going forward. We dig a little bit deeper to make sure that we don't put our burdens on others, make sure that we draw alongside and help them to carry, their buckets of water. Hopefully, they'll value every drop, but you'll appreciate through example that you're exerting something so that they don't become exhausted, but instead they are encouraged. So I'm encouraging you to share your thoughts. Hey, 949-837, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call at 925-32621. If we look at the way life is today, you would recognize that whether you're in Cayman or in a communist country, sometimes it looks the same, not because there are communist practices here, but you might say, well, maybe there are capitalist tendencies there. But in particular, if you ignore the politics, you'll recognize there's much in the economy. A larger nation with greater economies of scale and maybe more productivity are also facing some of the same challenges. But if we look at two segments of any society, the very young and those who've been given the opportunity to live a little bit longer, they are oftentimes ignored and neglected consciously. Other times they just passed by because, well, they're young and they still have their life ahead and may not have had experience. And those that are old, we say, well, they're old, they've had life experience, time for others to come in, out with the old and in with the new. Well, let's not do that. Let's take a page from others, and if we can't find, it's easy to reflect and recognize that in the past we had a society that loved and respected our children and our elderly, that we looked to them as wiser heads who have the benefit of life's experience to teach us, to nurture us, to remind us of the do's and the don'ts. And then the young, that hopeful expectation that they're going to inherit a land. But if we look at the Cayman of today, we have to ask ourselves, are we borrowing the bad from many places? Are we unwilling? Are we afraid to call people and hold them accountable, demand that they accept responsibility for the things that they say they can do and they prove that they can't or won't, or that it comes up short? Now, many times those things seem as if they're emotive, and they probably are, because you're frustrated. Oh, why did he do that? Why didn't she? But there are times when, for whatever reason, we are refusing to stand in the gap. Now, I'll be mindful that I don't know a lot. And I'll be the first to tell you that as much as we think we know, there's a whole lot more we are clueless about. But if you grow up in certain environments, you appreciate that as a parent, and in particular as a father, you have this sense of providing and protecting. Now, there are many who might argue, well, that's antiquated. That's a thing that assigns labels and roles to people. And it might be. I'm not going to argue about that. But if it is your ethos that in a role, and that parent doesn't have to be biological, it doesn't even have to be one where you formalize. We are parenting in every aspect. Quick question. Quick thought to ask you to consider and to respond. 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp call 925-3261. Now, it's said that not everybody can be a neurosurgeon. That's probably true. But is it also recognized that everybody can be and is a teacher by default or by deliberate design? We're teaching our children, the people we coach, and those around us, not only what to do and what not to do, and what we're doing, by the way we're doing it or not doing, but we're always teaching. The question is, are we always trying to learn? And in that teaching, is it in such a way that is instructive, informative? It is inviting them to a space that they have knowledge and a skill set that uplifts, that is, positive and productive? Or is it that we take whatever little knowledge that we have and we keep it to ourselves? Because knowledge is power, they say. Now, there are many who take and use your ideas as if it's their own. They won't give you credit for it. They'll plagiarize it. They'll take it and they'll monetize it. And lo and behold, they'll have lots and lots of money and fame, fortune, and the like, and you will be forgotten. History probably has many examples of such. And as a result, sometimes we fail to share our knowledge because what is it they share? Once bitten, twice shy. But what is it good to know something if you're the only person that knows it? But more importantly, what is it good to stand and be unwilling? Whether it's the lack of confidence, whether it's the sheepishness that you have and you don't want to impose yourselves. Many of us do it. They're not stepping up and standing out. Now, think, for instance, to our earlier conversation with the Cayman Chess Federation. The excitement that I had was real. There wasn't any need to dig deep for that conversation, because if you look at, with respect to Coach Ryan and good friend Sean, to just Enfield Bush and Miss Zara Majid, two young individuals who, in Zara's case, through her school, her parents, and everything else, can find her space in all she does and excel. And if Enfield would allow me to use him equally as an example, many of us will look at people from particular places, maybe the size of the country in terms of its geography. It's only, not even a postage stamp size on a map, just a dot, a speck. Or in size of its population, well, not enough people to even fill a football stadium, as in the case of Cayman. Or in some cases, for some of us, there are less people in this country than, for many of us, are employees in some of the companies that we once worked, for. But nonetheless, there are great things, and untapped potential sometimes is the greatest cost and loss to a society. And there's Enfield, who comes and he brings with him not just an enthusiasm, but as Sean, very, very, excitedly and with a great fanfare, shared, the strongest Caymanian chess player that we have, aspiring chess coach, someone who, together with Zara, perhaps Budapest in September might, be a reality. And I said to share that not only with the demands on the government's funds, its financial funds and other resources from its facilities and otherwise that many of us want to use and do use, but the private sector entities that have come on board, seeing not only the great PR that they can get from leveraging their resources and aligning their energies with the Chess Federation, but the skill sets that they can help to inculcate into our young people. The critical thinking, the notion of time management, the idea of how to, as Coach Ryan shared, 60 moves in 4 hours, or is it 60 moves in only a matter of minutes? The idea for many of us, that sense of pressure. Take the exam, where it's a time constraint. We may be strong in that subject, but just the notion that you have a very, very limited, defined time may create anxiety, and we can't perform under pressure in many ways. But at given time, not unlike the individual who may be a little bit more challenged to respond in an extemporaneous way. They know the subject. You ask them, you put them on the spot. They freeze up. Give them time, and they'll come back with a highly researched, very, very annotated, detailed response that is almost exhaustive. As Quincy Brown called the other day, many of us look at him and hold him in high regard. A strong intellect. If you listen, you'll see it quickly. An accomplished, storyteller. Someone who could easily take the world stage, but as he allowed us to share the other day, we asked him, hey, quickly, tell us a joke. And like many of us, when we're put on the spot, we find it uncomfortable. We find that we can't find the words. He, would say that I consider him a friend. And by so doing, as we chatted after, it just reminds us of how we need to draw alongside each other, not to hold others in a way to catch them out. Certainly to be accountable, but to hold them and nurture them and guide them and ensure that they have that sense that they can achieve and succeed. And when they find that something didn't work, it's not a failure. It just means that there has to be something else that we try. Now, are we doing that in this country? Maybe. Can we do it more and better? Definitely. And are there people here who sometimes you just need to take them, put them in the corner and say, okay, listen, get it right or get out. Now, it's not mean physically leaving the country, but it means you're in the way. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. And we're not talking about our young people. We're talking about us, the adult. And the get out, is either get out the mindset that you are going to make things worse and get in to the mindset that you are bringing to the table your very best all the time that you can. Even on the bad days, that best may mean that you step aside and say, okay, I can't carry it all today. Your ego, isn't so big that it doesn't allow you to appreciate that some days, like I heard a pastor said once, he said, listen, the devil comes to church. Sometimes he's in a pew, sometimes he's preaching from the pulpit. Now, don't know about you, but I question sometimes, if my coming and going is adding value, and I would like it to be. Now, 949-8037, 949-6990, and it is time that we all get on board this Cayman cat boat and move it forward in a way that we look in a community where, the dogs that were, because I'm told either the law doesn't exist and certainly not been enforced, they're muzzled, they are on their leashes, and the people are picking up after them. We were walking in the dikes the other day. Give you an example. Number of people enjoying it, and not only, or people had their dogs and they would hold them, but you could very much easily recognize that some have come before, and in these little blue packets now, why they're blue, I'm not sure. The dog dropping the poop, whatever it's called, was collected and it just tossed along the side of the dike. I'm thinking, wouldn't it have been better if they just left the dog do its thing there and the rains would wash it away? But no, let's preserve it and protect it and keep it in the little blue bags. Now, people may say, nobody's going to see that, no big deal. I don't think anybody's going to come around, not even, the government cleanup is going to go up there and collect that. That's one example. What about on the beaches? Not just the dogs, but otherwise. What about the people who use other spaces, the music they play? Not only the expletive-laden lyrics, but the volume level. It could be a Sunday, it could be a Friday night. Are we respectful? Are we, as, Miss Lucille Seymour, another incredible lady, not just as an educator, as she says should always be, as a former senior civil servant, serving as permanent secretary, as a parliamentarian, but as a member of our society who recognizes. Now, is it a call? Join us, Miss Susan. I saw your WhatsApp call. Are we taking it? Let's take the call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Sterling. Good afternoon. What's happening?
Hey, good to hear from you, man. I kind of wish I was where you are, man. What's going on?
Well, I under the tree, I can't do nothing more to the sucker, to my bananas and my bottlers because they're too hot. But
yeah,
relaxing. Just relaxing.
Don't lose your train of thought. But there's a word that I heard my father say in relation to bananas, and I wanted to ask him. He called them lacatangs. Is that such a thing? I've been wanting to know somebody who could tell me See if that's true. He referred to.
I never heard that.
I
I didn't hear that name since I was growing up as a little boy. But it's good that somebody remember that. I don't remember that word at all.
Was
I
my
tell you the honest truth. It's been a long time. I never heard that.
Yeah. Well, do you have any?
No. I don't have them yet. I'll go on probably on the back road of this island or down up in some part of the block. I don't know if they even survive
There you
through
go.
this drought here. But
There you go. We'll come back to that in a second. I don't want to put you off the topic, but I'll try to remember why I asked you that. One, because I wouldn't mind having some. I mean, you can't get an apple banana good these days, but that's a different story.
I have them all the time. So I know you got problem with that part of it.
So what I'm hearing is I need to come up and get some. All right.
Yeah. But right now I'm focusing on the on the pineapple. So the suckers they're doing as they do, because they got a drip system, but the pineapples not got a drip system yet. So I gotta focus on them.
Yeah, man. I gotta make a trip. The last time I was there, I missed you, but next time I will, promise you. All right, talk to me, my friend.
All right, no problem.
Susan reminding us that we're
on
going.
the tree.
Yeah, we got a break in 5 minutes at most. All right.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
I should be finished by then. I just wanted to mention, I kind of I'm long-winded like my old friend there, Lloyd Sampson. So I go cut it short. Yeah. But I just wanted to mention something this morning that came up on OC show there with the I forget what they call the thing that they have in there at the St. James.
You mean okay, yeah, because Dr. Steve was referencing a couple of things. He talked about electoral boundaries, then he talked about Emancipation Day and different things, right?
Emancipation, exactly. That's the word I was looking for, the emancipation thing. But it is so disrespectful to know that came from a ministerial part of Cayman in order to get those requests, or not requests, those what a word I'm looking for now, invitations. Invitations to certain individuals. That should be to all Caymanians, not certain individuals. You're not supposed to become no government building with no necktie and no fancy suit in order to be invited to that event. That should have been to all Caymanians to educate the Caymanian people and remind us of where we came from.
Yeah, but
it's sad to know that but not cutting off.
No, go ahead.
But it's sad to know that it had to come from a minister to invite, because they got some information known on the radio that it came from the minister inviting only certain individuals. That should not have been. That is a discrimination against Caymanian people from their own electoral members. Or member, I should say.
Well, let's ask ourselves a number of questions. First and foremost, I mean, like I referenced the Lakatan, for instance, right? How much in Cayman is being discarded, displaced, and disrespected consciously? All right, take the Cayman long mango tree, for instance. A gentleman that I think we all love, admire, respect for who he is, but also his knowledge and the position that he took, whether you were governor, EXCO member, or whoever. The law was the law, and we did it the right way. Dr. Jackman, all right? We understand when it comes to agriculture and importation of plants and other things that we need to protect what we had here. We need to ensure that we prevent as best as possible the importation of poisonous plants, animals, and other things that could be very, very harmful. Now, you do the right thing because it's the right thing to be done. When we look at our history, are we allowed it to be rewritten and recast in a way that has no semblance to who we are as a people? And when we do other things, is it done from a position of not being so informed, and that when the picture is painted, it's one that, again, disparages?
But Sterling, when it all comes down to this, do you realize that all of this starts, and it starts with our people making these choices? Is what you're talking about, the indigenous things and the poisonous stuff, and and warn us about what we should be aware of in our own islands. We should not have foreign people coming in here telling us what we should eat, what we can't eat, what in the sea, what in the air, what's on the land. We shouldn't have these kind of things.
Let me
And
answer.
it happens it comes from our electoral members allowing these people to come in and give us the run around and push us around.
I recognize
these
you got
kind
to,
of things.
yeah, my friend. I recognize we have to break, right? So I'm gonna two things. One, offer you the choice to call back or hold on, right? You decide. But secondly, just quickly, you use the word foreign people, foreign, right? How do you define that? Is that anybody that's not Caymanian, or is that only some people? How do you define who is a foreigner? Foreign.
Anyone that comes to these shores
Mm-hmm.
that is not born of Cayman
Okay.
is a foreigner to me, whether they like it or whether they don't. Because I remember a certain member of parliament warning and telling Caymanians, stop calling people foreigners in Cayman. They not no paper Caymanian, they not no foreigners, they Caymanians. Listen, I can't go United States and push my mouth around and tell people that what it is or what they eat or what I am and what I can't do it.
Right.
So why should I side? Why should the law or no law, because we have the right to speak? Why should the government think that they have the right to come and silence Caymanian people the way that we should speak? And I gotta leave it till we come back from the break and finish where I started, because I was just getting ready. I was just getting warm up.
You just getting warmed up, huh? There you go. All right, we can hear what you gotta say. Stay tuned to our listeners.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Sollins. Kaylee Wright's Hunted Offshore wins Project of the Year at Enterprise Cayman's Business Design Competition. Hunted Offshore is the marketplace for offshore professional and legal services recruitment. In international news, the White House has condemned blatantly anti-Semitic statements during ongoing student protests against the war in Gaza. As protests at Columbia University entered a 5th day, Deputy Press Secretary Andrew Bates said students have the right to peaceful protest, but he denounced calls for violence and physical intimidation targeting Jewish students. More than 100 students were arrested at the New York University this week. The arrests came after police cleared a protest encampment at the elite institution. College campuses around the U.S. have been rocked by demonstrations for months. Taylor Swift's new album, The Tortured Poets Department, has broken the record for Spotify's most streamed in a single day, the platform said. The pop sensation also became the most streamed artist in a single day. Her hotly anticipated album was released on Friday. The record follows the hugely successful Midnights, which sold 1.6 million copies in its first week in the U.S. almost 2 years ago. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Let's talk health, Cayman. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is launching a public consultation on May 1st to help develop a new national health strategy for the Cayman Islands. And we need your help. We want to hear your thoughts and experiences with healthcare across all 3 of our islands. Your voice matters. Log on to gov.ky/health-wellness or email mohfeedback@gov.ky to learn more or to get involved.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Every day, thousands of us use our roads.
I drive to work.
My dad drives me to school.
I make deliveries across the island.
But with every journey comes responsibility. Our actions behind the wheel can have serious consequences, so let's make a commitment to safety. The Cayman Islands government invites you to take the Safe Drivers Pledge. The pledge is our opportunity to show our dedication to creating a safer environment on our roads.
Do it for your community.
For your loved ones.
For yourself.
Let's make our roads safer together and say no more for 2024. Visit www.gov.ky/road safety for more information and to take the pledge.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us, and always appreciate this opportunity. And as we go back to the caller, thank you for hanging on. How are you? You survive?
Yeah, man, I mean if I survive. Man, I got God with me, but I mean if I can survive. You say anything form against me can't stand.
Hey,
what kind of question that?
What you mean, man? I love it. I love it.
I'm not from the Cayman Islands, I'm from Cayman. Simple as that.
Talk
I
to
like
me.
what Susan talk about. She the old girl, I the old boy. So
there you go.
Yeah, man. I just no. It just bothered me to know, to understand that people can participate and enjoy their life in the things that we supposed to celebrate, even though, like what some people said on the news this morning, on the radio this morning, that even the emancipation day, that they're celebrating it in the wrong month. But even so, Sterling, it should be for the people of the Cayman Islands. That more or less what I'm basing on. And it's sad to know that after they realize what they done, you know what can happen now?
Mm-hmm.
Between today, Monday, today, they got sent out now. They sorries, they apologies. Those things, my father always used to say, when you hurt someone, apologies can't bring back that pain, can't take away that pain. That pain will remain there for life. You cannot do them kind of things to the people of the Cayman Islands and then turn around and expect to use your power and say you're sorry.
What's that saying?
It doesn't work that way.
When you were growing up, you say, sorry, can't bring back a lorry. You heard that one?
Sorry, can't bring my lorry. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so disappointing to know that people realize who did this.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say, Sterling, I always say, the day that you see in East End voted out Arden McLean was the ruination of East End And for the people of Cayman.
Yeah. But let me
it's
ask,
gonna
though.
be the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I respect.
Let me stop right there.
Yeah, I
let me
respect
stop
and
right there.
encourage people to voice their view and speak. But let me pick you up because I enjoyed conversations and I particularly enjoy chatting with you. You speak your mind and you have that fervent, prayerful, purposeful approach to things, right? Is it then, to take your last point, we as a country, whether in government, and certainly we see the ill effects of it or the lack of it in the private sector, succession planning. We're not doing enough of that in our politics. And as some have shared, whether consciously by some sort of social re-engineering approach, or unconsciously because we're so busy trading water, we can't even see what's before us. If we are not ensuring that the next crop of parliamentarians and policymakers are being, developed, are being, prepared, and if they are, that there are people who understand the cultural ethos, who are respectful of who we are, what we are, and the stock from which we come. So your point about Mr. McLean, take it on board. I think he's an amazing gentleman. But we also have...
Real.
Yeah. For me, Mr. Rankin, the current MP as well, right? But where I would like to ask of you a couple of things. One, based on all that you shared in relative to Emancipation Day and the comments, we heard certain comments from certain quarters that there was a bit of disquiet within government, whether that was the civil service or whether that was the parliamentarians or both, as to how to approach this. What were we doing? What was the impetus for it? And the like. So maybe we didn't flesh it out properly in order to prepare and present this thing to the public that is meaningful, and there wasn't sufficient buy-in. I'll tell you that we have an opportunity to have a discussion coming up as soon as the ministry is able to coordinate a date. We have it set for Friday, part of their upcoming promotion and campaign. But the question is, who's driving what we're doing? Is it a knee-jerk response, like what you just shared? You say something, then you realize you got to recall the email or you got to do a correction to the thing, right? So let's start with that. I mean, your point.
That's the point, Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? This is what Cayman people need to stop doing. They need to stop buttering up things
Mm-hmm.
and make things solid, concrete. Stop rubbing things the wrong way and thinking that they're doing it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
No, these kind of things have to come to a stop. We cannot treat our people in the fashion that they feel because they have the authority and the power and do as they please.
Right.
And expect that at the end of the day that we must sit down and accept it. No, we cannot accept these things that they throw at us on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we are not the dogs that eat the crumbs off the floor,
Yeah.
We supposed to be the one that make the bread.
But
you understand what I'm getting at?
I'm hearing you, man. But the thing is, right, there are many who would say, well, if I can't get some of the crumbs, I got to mash up the whole thing. Right? Now, for me, man, that's not a productive approach, right? There are some who would say, well, we should have a seat at the table. Well, if you don't have a seat at the table, build a new table. But is the problem that why we don't have that participation is because we're so busy trying to keep each other down?
That is the thing. That is the whole issue. Is because that they know that people that know the history,
mm-hmm.
when they come in like Dr. Steve, when people like them know the history, they don't want those kind of people around. They want to make sure that they get the spotlight in order to make themselves sound like they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
These kind of things, it falls back to knowing your history, knowing what is really and truly the foundation of the Cayman people. They might say, well, they know it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know why? They read the same book that Dr. Steve wrote. That's how they know it. But when it comes to knowing reality of life, listen, park yourself one side, sit down, shut your mouth, and listen to the ones that know it and the ones that educate you for these kind of things that happen
Right.
in Cayman.
So
we need to stop this kind of bickering and beckering all over the place with people, and they need to just
Not true.
They need to
Not
park
true.
themselves and realize that it's not only power that matters.
Yeah, man. So let's pick up on that last point, right? Now I want to come back to one other thing, if I get a second to. You talked about knowing, right? Knowing and doing is two different things, right?
Exactly.
And I'm wondering what it is that separates, at least in my perception, people like you who have the courage, the wherewithal, that willingness to say something from a position, and you make this impassioned plea. Something that I think was very evident in our forefathers. So how come some people, and in like my perception, you're one of those who will say that thing, who will say, okay, I'm not quite sure how to say it, I'm not sure the word, but man, we got to do this thing, because if not, dog eat your supper. So how is it that we have people like that, and others and there's so many who lack that?
The thing, Sterling, my father raised me like this,
Mm-hmm.
When his age group were coming was on this earth, they were called Iron Men.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Men.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be one of the last functioning group on this earth that are called Iron Men. I not backing down from nothing,
right.
no one, or whatever comes my way.
Yeah.
I speak my mind. They have the freedom to come down in my road. They don't have the freedom to come in my yard, but they can come down my road and they can get my attention and ask me questions or say they don't like what I say or whatever. That I'm not getting to the point of in a anger or anything else. What I am saying is our people forgets, Sterling, our people forgets their own.
Yeah.
And they would rather know that when they have functions, that they have people there that knows absolutely nothing what going on, that it makes them look important. That is the problem with our people. They likes to know that they are important figure for the people that knows absolutely nothing what they're talking about.
So let me
they
just...
don't want to include me in a conversation.
Right.
They don't want to include Dr. Steve in a conversation.
Uh-huh.
They don't want to include Arden McLean in a conversation. They don't want to include Gilbert McLean in a conversation. These kind of people they don't include in these things because we know, and they don't want anybody to realize that someone knows the right from the wrong and park them and put them in their place, to let them know that what they're talking is just basically rubbish.
Right.
And they want to talk and what they heard somebody say.
As we go into the break, let me, one of our listeners says, amen to that caller, I'm with him on that, and shares that, if we don't like something, if our people don't like something, they got to say they don't like it, do something about it, and change, right? So with that, I want to maybe ask, I want to ask you one thing, two things. I'll take the second one after the break separately. But like you just said, let me challenge you and the rest of us. If I heard you correctly, you talked about our fathers and forefathers being Iron Men, and you wanted to be part of that generation, some of the last. Let's restate that and say, let's continue to develop, to inculcate that spirit, that sense of being the Iron Man, like my friend Obi talks about, the Nayaman, as he speaks to his grandfather, to be those men and women who stand in the gap, who are not, who don't bend with any little breeze, who don't let, what mama said, dap and who frightened. We got some blow hard, no good, no use people who we just celebrate and elevate, and we let them, you can see them from a mile off, you can hear them, you can smell them, and they're all for nothing, right?
Yeah.
Now, with that, right? Well, anyway, I'll pick up the little thing after, but tell me what you want to say quickly before we take the break.
I gotta hang up now and make somebody else get a chance. But Sterling, the kind of generation we live in with these so-called fancy people that walk around in suits and thinking that they know the all in all. When I take a rock and throw in the hog bin, and you hear that pig make this first squeal, you know who it is that causing the problem, that squeal, that kind of generation that we in, that the mix-up that we in. Anyway, Sterling, I'll talk to you another time when my blood pressure a little lower and we can have a better conversation. So I'll eat some dark chocolate and lower my pressure.
You want nothing less than 75%. Anything that's probably too sweet, but
Yeah, I know.
I hear you, man.
All right,
All right, boy. Later.
All right, boy, later. Yeah.
As you go into the break, one of our listeners says, he remembered the Lacatan bananas. He said, studied them in GCO levels class. He says he recalled that they were produced in Central America and shipped by United Fruit. I can tell you. Yeah, they're tasty. They're good. I enjoy and I miss them. We're going to pause and we're going to take a break. We'll take some more callers when we come back. Maybe I'll share some more, As soon as Monday, maybe Friday I still have a job. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments April 29th to May 5th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you are seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 949-9020.
Let's talk health, Cayman. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is launching a public consultation on May 1st to help develop a new national health strategy for the Cayman Islands, and we need your help. We want to hear your thoughts and experiences with healthcare across all three of our islands. Your voice matters. Log on to gov.ky/health-wellness or email mohfeedback@gov.ky to learn more or to get involved.
Radio Cayman News.
A man received a hefty sentence after he was convicted of rape.
The courts found that the victim was manipulated and groomed.
The service interruption is to facilitate an ongoing leak detection project.
We're able through these reports to look at the performance of students, trends year by year.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back and thanks for joining us. It is Open Line on this Monday edition of Talk Today. And if you did not get a chance before we take the next caller to listen to Miss Dorrit this morning for the record, hey, go on and watch us again on YouTube. Let's go to the phones. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
And to you, Mr. Brown. How are you today, sir?
Oh, not too bad. Not as good as you.
Well, I thank you for the prayers and the well wishes, because even in the days that I don't think I feel too good, I am always grateful, and I'm hopeful that I'm gracious as well.
I was looking at some good news, very good news to me, you know, celebrity news, and the Compass came on in Compass Friday paper. It says Cayman fashion designer wins over Rihanna.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was you know what? That is encouraging and inspiring. You know, and I commend Ms. Aline for that. But also at the end of the day, you know, it may inspire others, whether it's in fashion design, in modeling, in some of the other creative endeavors. But to every single person to see what is possible, even, you know, when you come from a relatively small place.
Right. And then the good thing about it is he was educated and raised in Cayman. And I mean, he learned quite a bit. And I mean, all this story is good. This is good for Cayman. You see, it's very good for the island.
But isn't it amazing, right? That here you have the Bajan Cayman connection as well. That we don't seem to see the connections we have with Barbados, with the Bay Islands, with Trinidad. We should know what we have with, say, Cuba and in particular the Pines and the like. But the Cayman connection is not just very, very heavily cemented across the Caribbean, but our people have gone, you know, across the continent. And as I listen to you, I certainly want to encourage you, what you're going to share, but ask our people, you know, from the days of the Bajan police officers and the teachers to many of the former, well, I guess, employees of what was then Cable and Wireless, that are still here. That connection is still strong. Let's nurture it. So, you know, Rihanna being the international, you know, celebrity that she is, from a relatively small island nation, being able to align with, you know, a relatively up and coming, you know, person from our shores, man, that could mean a lot for both, you know, countries.
Man, I tell you, Mr. Sterling, well, my great grandfather was from Barbados. You know, he was a leader in the vestry before there was a legislative assembly, and he was into pageantry and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, our history has to do with, like you said, Cuba, Jamaica, Barbados, all over the world. You know, it's like you said, this melting pot, the Cayman Islands. And I mean, so it's very good to hear all this good news, and you know, when the Cayman girls and the guys get out there and they're doing all this stuff on stage, singing, and but I'd like to sing with Rihanna, to be honest with you.
I'd just like to be in the audience when she performs. I mean, that's but you have that singing talent. I don't. At least I don't think so. All right, we're going to take the next call, but what else you want to share quickly?
Man, have a wonderful day.
All right, you too, man. And thank you. And is there another, ready for that call? Yeah, it's not a break. We took that already. I'm so excited. Let's take this other call. Welcome. This may be the last call. It may not be, but we'll know. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling Green.
And to you, sir.
Depends on the last for when.
Well, maybe for the next 5 minutes. I don't know.
All time or whatever.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
Yeah, I know you don't have much time.
Oh, I have as much as God would grant.
Needs time. But really, yeah, you're talking early on about Lacatan bananas. That's a farm, I think, that originated mostly in Jamaica, where there was a huge banana business. They shipped bananas. 90% of it went to Great Britain. And it was huge. They had a shipping company there, Jamaica Producers.
Right.
Jamaica Fruit and Shipping and so forth. The Kirkconnells were involved in it also. The big ships that went across. And Lacatan and Gross Mitchell, you have to understand, the only bananas that could be shipped were bananas of a special type. They had no blemishes or anything, or couldn't even be quarter ripe. They were rejected. It was shipped by bunches, not by hands, as we call it, so forth. Bunches. A big ship would carry about 200,000, 300,000 stems That's the whole stem of bananas. And so forth.
Okay.
Now, the train lines used to run on the old number 1 pier, number 2 pier. They ran right down there. The train loads of bananas and so there. In the 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, Jamaica. The bottlers and other bananas, apple bananas, they were used as what they call windbreakers. They were planted around the huge banana plantations to break the wind away from the breeze, away from the important bananas, the Gros Mitchell, the Lacapan. That's what they were used for there. But here in Cayman, we know the wonders of them. Won't go into that. What I really called you about was the abolition or emancipation thing. I think a lot of people have it a little bit confused. First of all, I'm trying to concise it because it is something that requires a little bit of length, and you don't have that right now on your program. The actual abolition date, I'm sure for the colonies, at least in the Caribbean, the British colonies, we're going to deal with the British. We can't deal with the others.
I just wrote that word down.
At the stroke of midnight, July the 31st, 1834. 1 second after the stroke of midnight on July the 31st is the 1st of August. That's the reason why all these other countries around the Caribbean, around us, former colonies, so forth, celebrate the 1st of August. The slave owners were to have been paid compensation for losing the services of their slaves. The British government set aside £20 million to do that. Billions and billions of pounds in today's money. And the slave owners in Cayman, on a register taken in 1834, it shows that there were 985 slaves. That means almost exactly half of us were slaves and half of us were free people or slave owners or merchants or weren't slaves. Because the population at that time was accurately or close to as accurately as possible, just as we are today, not completely accurate, was 2,000. So that meant half of us would be slaves, half of us were not slaves. The British government had implemented a system of apprenticeship labor. It helped to placate the slave owners for losing the services of their free slaves and a transition, also a smooth transition from free into paid labor. The slave owners had paid at auction, half, coal, callous, indifferent, to say it that way, but I'm telling you facts, right? Not rumors. Trying to concise it, to compensate them. This was to help them, to placate them, to move into this new transition, free labor into paid labor. It wasn't working here. It was that apprenticeship system was to have been for 4 years and 6 years, depending on which slaves you're talking about, household and out in the field and so forth. It wasn't working here in Cayman for the 985 slaves, that system. Representation had been made from both sides of the house. Both houses, which was the elected part and the appointed part. The elected part meant the 10 men elected in the first elections, 10th of
December 31.
December 1831. Right? 2 Woods, 2 Bottoms, 2 Parsons, a Caum, an Eden, a Thompson, a Goodhue were the first 10 men. The upper house consisted of what the previous government was, the magistrates, and it went into long into the 1940s, 50s, where you had the 2 parts, the JPs, they called them by then, and the House of Representatives. Anyhow, The governor in Jamaica at the time, his title was Lord Sligo. His real name was Peter Brown Ho. He was from Sligo in Ireland. And he had been made aware of the problem here with the 985 slaves not being condemned, not wanting this on the issue here. And the slaves have not been registered and so forth. Anyhow, he wrote that document, famous document we talk about, that was read out first at where is now the museum on the 3rd of May, 1835, then in Bordentown on the 5th of May, then at the St. James House called the Pedro Castle at Pedro on the 6th of May, 1835, and then in Little Cayman on the 7th of May by Captain Pack, who had accompanied the British governor here. Lord Sligo wrote the document, brought it here himself. He arrived on the 2nd of May in the afternoon, on the 2nd of May, 1835, and he invited 25 slave owners or big merchants here on his vessel. He came on the Forte, the biggest battleship in Kingston Harbor, and he came on that, and Captain Pack, who read the document out, he came on a vessel provided for him. He was an army captain, not a naval captain. The vessel was provided for him. It was a sloop called the Serpent. The governor spent a day here, but when he invited those Caymanian merchantmen aboard the vessel, his big battleship on the afternoon of May the 2nd, and they were so disappointed and saying that they become paupers. One of them, a Borden in particular, said he came on board this vessel a wealthy man or a financially good means, and now he'll be a pauper, etc., etc. Anyhow, Captain Pack stayed on here for a few weeks to form a proper militia under the governor's orders, because there had been huge slave uprisings in the big island of Jamaica and all that. And in any case, that had ended. But the thing is this: he read the document out there on what is now the museum on May the 3rd, 1835, and then on May the 5th in Bordentown, as I said. That document ended the apprenticeship system in Cayman. It ended it for the 985 slaves here. But it continued on in the big colony of Jamaica that had tens of thousands of slaves, huge sugar plantations, thousands of acres each. Many of those sugar plantations in Jamaica were owned by British members of Parliament. They made millions and millions of pounds out of Jamaica. It was a real gold mine. It went on in those in that colony and in Guyana and in Barbados, in Trinidad and so forth, so on, for the full 4 and 6 years. Here. It ended it here. It ended here. I have no idea about what, as most people know, Cayman, and some might not know. That was my mother's family's house. My mother's photograph is in the house on the 3rd floor, the castle, if you want to call it that. And on the 2nd floor is a photograph of her father, my grandfather, William Eden, and so forth. He was also a William Eden, one of William Eden's great grandsons. And it ended it then. The slave owners, as I said, they were paid. About the slaves being made reparation to, that wasn't anything official. In Jamaica, the slaves, when they were freed, finally from the apprenticeship and all that, many were being charged rent by their slaves. You can check this out. Yeah. You don't have to be by their former slave owners and so forth. And Sligo created, Governor Sligo, a free town. It's called Sligoville. It's still there in Jamaica. The first free town. That was where slaves were able to live without having to pay rent and own land of their own. There were other towns. You can name them all. You can find out their names. It's quite easy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, thanks very much, Mr. Hurlstone. Thanks. And this is where, as I listen, many times, again, thank you very much, Mr. Hurlstone. little that we may know over history and little that we recognize is sometimes it's being sort of reshaped, reimagined. Many would appreciate that we can't, unring the bell. We certainly can't rewind the hands of time. And oftentimes we have to be appreciative that the British, being the strong naval power that it was, and from the Treaty of Madrid onwards, that it took great possession of all of the New World, as it were. And the British West Indies, we were like many from Trinidad to Jamaica, part of the British Empire. And until there was independence in those respective nations, the British ruled supreme. So the histories of those nations may look similar, and there may be significant differences. The questions that we ask is to what extent, we have it recorded accurately here, and if much of what has been shared has been recorded as a history book, it has words like, well, it could have been, it probably was. Well, there's no place in history for conjecture. Much of our oral history is being lost as time passes, but we're told we had a different take on many things that people have now, presented as fact, when in fact, when you read it, it uses words that are subjective. Now, the Cayman context is one that, like this, there may be increasingly division, discontentment, probably because people are not absolutely convinced of its accuracy, which is healthy for a democracy. But again, in the Cayman context, do we look at it and appreciate where we are and understand how significant it is that we get it right? I think people like Mr. Hurlston helps us to appreciate that significance. People like Dr. Steve McField cements it in many respects. And again, the discussion of emancipation there, like much, may be driven by some because of personal appeal and agendas. It may equally be one that is discouraged or somehow, how should we say, not so heavily supported, again, personal ambitions or agendas. Well, one thing is for sure, my brother-in-law reminded me very young, the mouth will say anything, and even more when it learns to talk. The question is, are we saying it from a position of accuracy? Are we saying it from a sincerity? Are we saying it because in our hearts, and we purposely made sure that our intent is pure? He who comes to equity must come with clean hands is a tenet in the law. Perhaps too often we misinterpret and misapply the golden rule as he who has the gun or he who has the goal makes the rule, not as it should be. But that's for another day. Back to what my mom always says, dapper know who to frighten. The question is, are you courageous enough to stand in the gap? Have a wonderful, safe, and enjoyable afternoon. Who knows what tomorrow's bring, but my prayer is that we'll be a part of it and that it'll be something that is purposeful. Until then, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.